How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to Total Eclipse, the Imperial capital burns. I'm gonna figure out how I like saying it, but so far I keep jumping back and forth. We'll get to that. Anyway, last time we were here, we had a very interesting episode. So we had the first round of examinations, the preliminaries that would determine whether or not they were accepted, like, into the program proper. Essentially, it's the, are you gonna be able to start the track towards a surface pilot, which, by the way, still not a guarantee they'll make it, but they'll at least be inducted into the school program. Or if they might be reassigned, if they fail the first round, then they have a secondary round they have to also pass sometime later. What's really interesting to me is the fact that we passed. I thought the narrative was leaning in a direction toward of like them having to go at the second round. I thought it might be a creatively expressive. I'm making words up. I thought it would have been a good expression of character development and growth, especially as a team. We did see that, but it was also kind of more like they said it happened rather than showing us it happened. Granted, I imagine a big reason for that is that they want the game to focus on other stuff. They're not here for a very long narrative in school arc of Yamayuri. This is kind of a setup for the setting of where things will actually happen. So I can kind of see that. But it just surprised me. And it seemed to surprise Yui a bit too. Or at least she's appreciating that it was very close. And she's also like kind of expressing this idea that in her last memory, in the relief of being successful, she then realized what their success meant and came at the cost at, which was other squads in the class who didn't make it and who probably felt like they did just as well. So, yeah, now she's like, great. Now people are going to hate us because of favoritism that they perceive, even though we worked really hard for what we got. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out and to see how reflective she is. Like, at a time where it should be a victory, it really doesn't feel like one, and I think that that's kind of the point. So, let's get into Yui's head a bit and see what she's thinking.
ちょっと、あれで合格だなんて信じられる？なんで2試合とも勝った私たちが落とされて、T 招待が合格なの？納得いかないよ。
Ah, interesting. So they won both their matches and flunked? That is really surprising, actually. I thought that if they... There must be other factors that they're keeping track of, but what could it be? Because that would be so maddening. Like, you won both your matches, you know, you proved you're actually victorious in the 2 rounds you get to go, and you didn't pass? That's crazy.
仕方ないわよ。あっちは普代の上様がいるんだし、優遇されてるんでしょ？それが現実よ、現実。どうかしら。教官たちに袖の下でも渡してるんじゃない？
It sucks because like this school should have been the one place where she could have felt the most normal, and yet she's facing almost the exact same problem that she faced everywhere else. To nobody's surprise, we were heckled all the way out of the room. Our classmates were quick to dismiss our hard work and attribute our success to my social standing. And while it's painful to admit, there's nothing I can say to prove them wrong. My lack of skill brought shame to our team and made us vulnerable to the line of accusations. Things weren't supposed to be like this. In this academy, we were all meant to be equals. I never expected to hear people slandering my family name again. Yeah, that'd be so frustrating. Just be like, really? I need to apologize to father and mother. Not only has my disgraceful performance cast shame on the name of our family, but I may have single-handedly dredged up the slander and criticism of House Takamura that should have been put to rest long ago. No, I must become stronger, both in body and spirit. I must become so strong no one would dare criticize House Takamura ever again.
高村家代々の当主はいかなる義なき誹謗、卑劣な中傷にさらされようとも、決して言や武をもってこうせず、
Yeah, she's trying to warn you.
ただ黙して武具ごしらえの道を貫き、ただひたすら法と訓を重ねるのみで、価格相応の真を勝ち取り続けてきたのです。あなたがこれから行く道は、あなた自身が高村の矜持で踏み固めてゆくのですよ。
何かを今以上に多くのものを得たいなら、 やるべきことを選ぶのはとても大切だわ。でもね、ユイ、今以上に多くのものを背負ったら、やらないものを選ぶことがとても大切になるの。
Mother, Yoko-sama. It's alright, I understand. After such a humbling experience, trusting in the sincerity of the instructor's judgment and forging ahead appears to be the only thing I can do. Questioning their rulings would be no different than casting doubt on them. I'm the one who said that the comprehensive exam was a checkpoint, not a goal. In 1 week, we'll be moving into the school dorms. Our real training will begin soon after. Whatever accomplishments I have to my name are inconsequential, as the road to become a surface pilot is long and arduous, and the trials that await me are many. So for now, I'll endure and show my worth through my deeds, not my words. Next time, things will surely be different. And those words never predicate a complete reversal of expectation.
私は山城さんに
Yeah,
勝ちたい。
I bet you do.
ユイ、お待たせ。
Alright. Graded on a curve. Squeezed through the CCSE by the skin of your teeth. Yeah. I wonder if they'll ever explain that, or if it will always be an enigma of why did they pass. May 20th, 1997.
まずは総選部の突破おめでとう。
Yeah?
ここにいる貴様らは応用協定に進み、晴れて戦術機教習の仮搭乗資格を得たことになる。
Ooh. See, I always thought it was still going to be simulators, but they're going to hop them into some of the training, are they Fubukis at this point? I'm not sure. The applied curriculum began this morning, but our daily routine is indistinguishable from what it was yesterday. Almost as if the CCSE never happened.
30時間のシミュレーター演習の後、貴様らは実機に搭乗して基本動作を習得する。練習機は未だ第一線で稼働している F4J の出力調整型だ。
Gekushin. Well, as I look around me, the vacant seats in the room serve as a valid proof the comprehensive evaluation was no dream.
だが、戦術機に搭乗する際に絶対欠かすことのできない大事なものがある。
Alright, game, where are we going to take this one?
英式強化装備だ。
As you may recall, I'm sure, in the original Muv-Luv games, the fortified suits, especially the training fortified suits, were fan service. And the logic was, hey, on front lines, you can't have modesty, so you might as well just get used to it. Very, very thin pretense there, game writers, but you know, we accepted it, and we were lucky that we were able to play the Steam version, which toned it down enough. Because I saw the original, oh my gosh, like, ooh, could not have put that on YouTube.
同じ女のよしみで強化装備の座学と装着実習は私が受け持ってやる。箱入りお姫様方への特別サービスだ。帝国軍じゃこうはいかないぞ。
Again, she's kind of bringing up her own personal, like, I don't know if it's intentional disdain or she just literally thinks it's ridiculous that she has to, like, handhold them.
よかった。戦術機だったら最悪だったよ。ほんと、一安心だわ。
This is yet another instance of the VIP treatment we daughters of samurai families receive.
あっちは普代の上様がいるんだし、優遇されてるんでしょ。
Right on the heels of yesterday, an example that proves the point presents itself. The irony is biting.
では、教本の32ページを開け。図1を見ろ。このように、一見単体に思える英式強化装備はいくつものパーツで構成された複合構造だ。
Yeah, like, these flight suits are actually so incredible. If I could have one in real life, I would absolutely, because like they're essentially like bulletproof. They have a life support system built in. Again, you have to remember the priorities of the day. They need these things to be able to survive really harsh conditions and keep a pilot alive through some pretty insane stuff.
まずデータスキンだ。皮膜内面のゲル状素子が肌に浸透密着。全身の筋電圧変化を脳波と照合し、搭乗者の思考を予測。操縦の補助をする機能がある。
So yeah, so it sticks to your skin and penetrates the pores. I'm not sure how deeply, but I imagine that must feel very weird.
この仕組みは統計関節思考制御といって、巨大な機械である戦術機を人間以上の俊敏さで動かすための最も重要な基幹システムだ。詳細は
Oh, I clicked on my head.
よくわかんないけどすごくない？
It is really cool. I don't think we even have this kind of technology now. We don't have a need for it, but
仕組みがわかんなくても使ってるもの意外に多いんだから大丈夫。
このデータスキンを装着する際、とても重要な大原則がある。全裸だ。
yeah. How did they not know this?
じゃない。話聞いてりゃ計測の仕組みで想像できただろう。
It connects to your skin. Of course it's skinned.
とくれば、お上品なお姫様方が気になるのはクソしょんべんと相場が決まっている。
yeah.
だが安心しろ。そういうことはちゃんと考えられている。
The real fun side of it, but also one of the more practical. Also, yeah. don't sigh relief.
53ページの図12を見ろ。
It's called the Onboard Waste Processing System. Now, Instructor Saito is having so much fun.
何これ？これってもしかして？
Oh, I see. Most people don't know about this part. Doesn't upset me in the slightest, though. I guess I have fathers work at the TSFs to thank for that.
排泄パックとドレーンユニットだ。これを股間にかます。
She's having so much fun. She's just like, look, if I have to be here, I'm gonna at least enjoy it.
バカ者。場合によっちゃ何日も作戦が続くこともあるんだぞ。
Yeah. My gosh. I mean, I guess they're kids. You gotta remember, this is like, they're young. They're young, but still, it feels silly.
何も尿道やケツの穴に管ぶっ刺すわけじゃない。ドレーンユニットを貴様らの幼稚な股間にカパッとはめるだけだから安心しろ。
斎藤助教の安心しろは
ドレーンユニット内面の流体樹脂が体温に反応して浸透。貴様らの恥ずかしい一体をがっちり型取りして食いついてくれるんだ。
God, the phrasing. Stop it. I'm getting like I understand like it's you gotta get cut to the chase, but like it's starting to feel a little like calm down.
やっぱりだ。
無駄毛の処理はきっちりしとけよ。じゃないとユニット外すとき地獄を見るぞ。
That is what a lore is that? It's like someone crying.
大陸の前線じゃ男女ともにほとんどの兵士がツルツルにしてたぞ。まあ衛生面から言ってもそれをおすすめするがな。
Okay. So it's advice, but she's also pointing out that like it's also very common. And it's an interesting thing. You never think about that, but at the considering the way the suits work, that makes sense. We all having fun?
ちなみに私もそうしてる。
Okay.
いらない。その情報いらねえ。
Okay, I know it's tempting to ignore, but we know who Yui is. She would always pay attention.
話を戻すぞ。データスキンの強化被膜は柔軟性と伸縮性に優れ、密着後の姿勢追随性は 140% 以上。
That's
つまりシワの類は全く寄らないということだ。
That's really interesting. That's like, what would it be like to wear something like that? It really would be like a second skin. Like not even like, oh, this is a skin tight suit. It's like, oh, this is literally like a second layer.
全身を覆うこの厚さ1ミリにも満たない強化検知被膜は筋電圧計測のほか耐衝撃、防塵性能、耐熱耐寒、高化学物質性を有している。
What is this miracle material? Actually, you know what? I asked that, but then you also could think that this could be another one of those, like by studying beta, they were able to derive a new levels of technology or material composition.
実際に触れてみればわかるが、 ゆっくり押せば柔らかく、瞬間的に強い圧力が加われば硬化する。
So it's very non-Newtonian. That's cool.
その強靭性はライフル弾の直撃すら防ぐぞ。まあ当たりどころによっちゃ装着者は骨折すると思うがな。
But I'm pretty sure it would harden under the pressure, but it also essentially shatters the membrane. So like it wouldn't be able to survive more than 1 or 2 hits.
この強度が保証されている理由は、パワーアウト後、強化外骨格装備時に全面装甲の役目を負うことが想定されているからだ。まあパワーアウトなんて状況になった段階で、その英士は基本罪だ。貴様らはそうならないよう気張って訓練しろよ。
It is nice though that like despite the fact that your odds of survival outside of a TSF on active battlefields like that would be really slim, they're still trying to give you every advantage you can possibly have. So if we have to abandon our machines, the beta are sure to swarm us and need us.
強靭な保護被膜は断熱性にも優れ、貴様らはこれを着ている限り、砂漠だろうが北極だろうが快適に過ごすことができる。
I'm pretty sure we've seen
ただし、バッテリーが続く限りだ。
I'm pretty sure we've seen examples of how that's not entirely correct. Like it's definitely really helpful, but I don't think you'll be comfortable. I'm pretty sure they pointed out that you still feel cold and you still feel the heat. Although, I guess one of the best examples was the day after, and I'm guessing that their suit's batteries went out by the time they were like traveling through the mountains, which is where they really seemed to experience the most exposure, so I guess that still tracks.
毛穴に浸透したゲル状素子は発汗を感知し、水分循環で飲料水を生成しながら貴様らの体温をきめ細やかに調整してくれる。
That's pretty cool.
高化学物質性も高く、酸、アルカリなどのあらゆる侵食を防ぐ。付属の簡易ヘルメットと合わせれば大げさな話ではなく、
That's so
宇宙で
cool.
の使用も可能だ。
Oh, I want one of these for real. They'd be so neat.
その他にも電圧による伸縮効果を利用した対峙機能があり、高機動戦闘時のブラックアウトを防いでくれる。これは戦術機にも使われているカーボニックアクチュエータの応用だ。
Nice.
つまりバッテリー消費量を無視すれば強化装備単体でも瞬間的にはフィードバックプロテクターに準じる能力を発揮できるということだ。これらの機能は全て兵士の生存性を高めるために付加されているんだ。
こんなすごいの着てて死んだり怪我するってちょっと信じられないよな。
That should really kind of indicate just how dangerous things are.
まあそれだけ厳しいってことでしょ。実際
な
は
お、貴様らが装着する候補生用データスキンには無着色被膜が採用されている。
So they're at least holding to the tradition. Yep.
あれ肌色の被膜じゃないの。うっそ。
これは着色工程の除外によるコスト削減と不祥事の視認性確保を両立するための措置だ。
Okay. That's an interesting argument. It's not the one I heard before.
だからあんだけすごい機能満載でどうやって怪我するんだってな。
その機能からも分かるようにデータスキンは高額な消耗品だ。仮に損傷しなくても装着のたびに機能劣化が進む。
Oh, interesting.
体質にもよるが装着10回が廃棄の目安であり再生処理に回される。
See, I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
そして統計によれば損傷率と消費量は候補生の負傷率と相似であり、その発生は兵士訓練期間が最も多い。無着色によるコスト的利点と視認性の両立がいかに重要か理解できるはずだ。
I still don't know if I quite buy it, but okay. I'll go along with this game.
強靭で柔軟な強化被膜だが、緊急時は両胸のレスキューパッチを押し込むことによって溶解液が被膜に循環し素手でも破けるようになる。ただし
Yeah, you'll be naked, so you better really need to take it off.
強化被膜のゲル素子は傷にも浸透して高い止血効果を発揮する。したがって慌てて引き剥がすとかえって負傷者の生命を脅かすことになるから注意しろよ。
I imagine you'd be hard pressed to think of a situation at all where you'd need to emergency eject from your suit. Like, I just don't know. Like, maybe once you're in safe hands in a hospital and they, like, need you to get out.
Huh?
They're still completely lost in the whole, like, flesh thing.
貴様らな。ったく。無着色といっても完全な透明じゃない。うっすら透ける程度だから安心しろ。
Yeah, it wasn't always like that. It used to eventually be see-through lingerie.
全然安心できねえ。
貴様らお姫様方にはきついかもしれんが、前線じゃ男女別の風呂便所の設置なんてほとんどないんだ。今のうち慣れておけば楽だぞ。
Yep, and showers.
たく、貴様らは何も分かってないな。男どもはそういう羞恥心に反応する動物なんだ。むしろ堂々とされるとあいつらは萎えるんだよ。
Uh-huh. That's how it works, okay? Sure.
本当に？
Again, I don't think so.
なんで私に聞くかな。それを。
羞恥心の鈍化と視覚的陳腐化。要は見慣れさせることで性衝動の抑制効果を補助するんだよ。
I guess, like, especially in a combat zone where that is a common sight, it would stop being of note, and thus you probably would stop getting a rise out of anybody.
まあ経験的に言えば適度な性衝動は保護欲を刺激して士気を高めるのも事実だ。その辺うまくバランスとって男どもに自分を守らせるのも手だぞ。
Interesting discussion here. Okay.
なんか斎藤助教すごくない？そうね。頼もしいっていうか。
That's a great way to summarize this entire conversation. I don't know if I should be impressed or terrified.
ちょっと方向性はあれだけど、私が求めてたのはこういうのだよ。実践経験で得たノウハウね。あんたずっとそれで文句言ってたからね。
So is this like a way to skip what she's talking about? Because frankly, she's talking about it's like interesting stuff. Like it's a good glimpse into the lore and eyes of the creators and writers. I don't want to skip any of that.
では次にアーマースキンの概略を説明する。アーマースキンは体を覆う柔軟な積層高分子装甲と首や肩などの硬質なブロックユニットで構成されている。積層高分子装甲はデータスキンの重要部を保護し、強化装備全体の装甲強度に下駄を履かせるものだ。
That's kind of cool. Like, so the pieces that look like armor are actually more for the suit's benefit rather than yours. I'm sure that they also functionally serve to help you, like where they're strategically placed, but at the same time, it's like, this is more for the suit.
メーカーの素材強度試験では 12.7 ミリ重機関銃の連射にも耐えたそうだ。人体実験したやつはいないから実際のところはわからん。
Yeah, it's a little much to ask to be like, hey, we want some good data. How can we shoot you with various weapons until you die?
確か小銃で骨折って言ってなかったっけ？
Oh yeah, that's just because like the force is still translated to your body, it just doesn't puncture you anymore.
M2 重機関銃だったら粉砕骨折でも済まないだろうな。
各部のブロックユニットにはメインコンピューターのほか主要な生命維持、環境維持装置などの制御系が収められている。その主なものは頸部と肩、上腕外側部のユニットに集中している。メインコンピューターなどの主要電子機器のほか、カウンターショックや圧力注射などの救命機構や生命維持装置などだ。
I wonder if we actually, if in-set armored defibrillators can actually be useful. I feel like that's one of those things where like we've been conditioned by like media cartoons and TV shows that a defibrillator can just like bring you back from like your heart being stopped, but it's not like the first option that people usually go for. That's like the well, we might as well try this because it sometimes works type of option.
背頸部と背葉部のブロックユニットはロックコネクターがあって、腰部と下体部合わせての4点指示で体をシートに固定してくれる。
That is something they don't often like highlight is the fact that they're locked into those seats.
排泄制御、水の循環システムなどの補助機能は腰回りと下腹部、側部のブーツに分散配置され、データスキンと一体となって全身の管理を行う。ブロックユニットの中でも貴様たちにとって特に重要なのが外顎部の一体型ヘッドセットだ。
It's the part of the helmet that comes down across the chin and like the jawline.
これには網膜投影装置や通信装置などの情報伝達系が収められており、戦域情報のデータリンク端末として機能する。また脳波の計測、個人の精神・身体のモニタリングも随時行っている。戦術機側のコンピューターとのリンクは非接触方式だが、網膜表示情報やバッテリー系統の切り替えは着座面全体での接触方式で管理されている。
That's cool. So like the entire suit interfaces in a remote, essentially contactless way with the entire TSF, which is why you get the heads-up displays and everything.
つまりシートにどこかが触れていれば強化装備は充電モードとなり、離れれば消費モードになるということだ。
All right.
さて、全容をつかんでもらうためここまで駆け足で説明してきたが、最初にも言ったように強化装備で最も重要な機能は統計関節指向制御だ。
Right. This is the shortcutting that they currently have, which Takamura completely revolutionizes.
何度でも言うぞ。肉体と精神の鍛錬、そして実機訓練を重ねれば重ねるほど装着者個々の特性データが蓄積され、戦術機を己の手足以上に動かすことが可能になるんだ。
I really do love this idea of like a system algorithm that like is like adapting, almost like a very primitive AI adapting to your style. Like as you control TSFs and as you work, like it makes a profile, and the profile gets uploaded to a new TSF, even if it's a completely different model. It'll still operate more like directly and more accurately with your own types of inputs and actions and just the way your body reacts to how you want to move. Because that's the thing, is like you can think of controlling a TSF, I mean like a gamepad controller, but it's like a whole body one. And the thing is like there's so many little like things your body probably does just squirming around in your chair that could actually be used as information to help make the TSF move properly. And it's cool that they're actually identifying that and saying like, hey, we should make as much data points and make these controls as fluid and responsive to the body as possible, because again, they currently have like 2 joysticks and probably foot pedals. That's a lot to try and utilize to make a full like mech suit move, because the movements of a mech suit are so inherently complicated.
これが他の兵器に対する戦術機最大の優越性であり醍醐味だ。マシン性能や特性の習熟の先に搭乗者個々の身体能力や経験を物理的性能に転換する伸びしろがある。こんな機会は人類史上一切存在しなかった。
Yeah, really cool.
戦術機は貴様らを裏切らない。カタログスペックに貴様らが重ねるものがその機体の性能になるんだ。わかったか？
I like that. Your TSF will never betray you. Only you can betray it.
はい、教官殿。
Yes, ma'am.
よし。では次に強化装備に付随する補助装備77式機密装甲灯と C ウォーニングについてざっと説明する。
Okay. Your TSF will never betray you. And in turn, we must never betray our TSFs.
77式機密装甲灯は高濃度重金属運など敵対的環境下での兵士の機外活動を保障する。通称は簡易ヘルメットだ。
Okay, so it's a complicated helmet, but they call it a helmet.
正面はスーパーポリカーボネートとクリアグラファイトの多重積層装甲。強度はスーパーカーボンとほぼ同じだ。この正面装甲は電圧で色素配列を任意に変えられるので、透過率 100% なら有視界、 0% の場合は表裏ともにディスプレイとして使用できる。
Interesting. So does that mean that like as it projects information onto the inside, it also is like hardening very specifically the fields of your helmet that need to be like opaque in order for the information to be displayed clearly? That's pretty cool.
網膜投影が機能している限り 透過率を100にすることはまずない。だが、網膜投影の機能不全や強化装備のバッテリー切れの際に有視界となる。つまり、電圧ゼロで透過率100だ。
Okay.
通常は完成ユニットとメインビームのコンテナに拳銃やカービンと共に収容されている。これらを
So now that she probably thought, like, not only you have the helmet, but you also have weapons, like handgun and a rifle inside the cabin with you. Pretty sure that's going to become important later. Hey, Yui. Oh. Takamura Family Estate, Fushimi Ward, Kyoto. That mean Dad's home? I know that car.
お帰りなさいませお嬢様。本日のご学業はいかがでございましたかお嬢様。
Oh.
ごめんなさい坊や、後で話すから。
There she goes. Oh, that's cool. They had like the side running stance.
では次でほぼ間違いないと。
はい。大鳥本家からはそのように。竹は昨今の情勢に腰が引けているとか。
やっぱり。
Aw, okay. Probably gonna get a few shots here, but it's always good to get a few, like, good ones.
ただいま帰りました。
まあ、ゆい。お帰りなさい。
Here he is. Here he
おう
is.
ゆいちゃん。
Oh,
お
it's
かえり。お
Iwaya.
邪魔してるよ。
I thought it was gonna be her dad. Oh well. It's good to see you again, man. You're pretty cool in the future.
岩屋のおじさま、ようこそいらっしゃいました。
Oh man, now you gotta admit though, like remember how he was always so protective of her in like Total Eclipse? You gotta remember he grew up he watched her grow up. She was like essentially family. Of course he was super protective. Like I remember thinking he was just being a little too over the top with it, but I think I get it now. Like you're seeing a great example of why he would be essentially emotionally compromised, but for the best reasons.
これ
Aww.
岩屋さんの前でお行儀悪い。ちゃんと玄関から上がってらっしゃい。
はーい。
They're fine.
いや驚いた。少し会わないうちに大きくなってますますあいつに似てきましたね。
Aww. Okay, now there's a happy Yui. There's a happy Yui.
そうなんです。頑固でまっすぐ。融通が利かないところまで本当にそっくりで。
Obstinate, straightforward, and inflexible. That is, there's that perfect descriptors. Rather, don't embarrass me in front of Uncle Iwaya.
それは心配でしょうな。あいつの不器用さは国宝級。余計な面倒を背負い込むことにかけては天才ですから。
Maybe it's not that much though, because Yui was actually pretty good at not ruffling too many feathers. Only certain people's feathers. Do, Uncle? What a human moment. That's so good.
じゃあゆい、お願いね。
はい、かしこまりました。
Finally, the time has come. Mission is proceeding smoothly so far. What on earth is this? What are you up to? It's like, she's got such gremlin energy right here. Mother went for a little overboard with her comments, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Given the hour, I'm sure Uncle Iwaya will be staying for dinner. Normally, Mother would have never leave a guest's side until their visit was over. Hospitality is important to her. So important to her, in fact, that she decided to add one extra dish to the menu. House Takamura's very own Nikujaga. Oh, okay, so she just wants the food. Although she's the lady of the house, this is the one dish she's always prepared for herself ever since it's father's favorite. Oh man, and it becomes so important later too. And since Uncle is also fond of Mother's Nikujaga, you could say this is a hospitality of the highest level. So in fact, I stepped in as a co-host to Uncle Iwaya. Must have been a godsend to Mother. I wanted him to try my Nikujaga though. Oh, but it's important to decide what roads not to take. No one will disturb us for a while. This is a rare opportunity to talk with Uncle to my heart's content. Okay, Yui. You get a little bit of stronger feelings for Uncle Iwaya than I anticipated,
先ほどは失礼しました。岩屋中佐殿。
Again, what is this?
こりゃ傑作だ。いやいや、さすが英士候補生。立派立派。
Aww. Okay, that's even better one. She's just like, don't say that. Why is he teasing me? I don't understand. I said something weird.
そりゃ俺も年取るわけだ。
おじさま、もういつもバカにして。
ああ、やっぱりそっちだな。俺にとってのゆいちゃんは、まあ、まだ候補生なんだし、固く考えなさんな。
And here I was trying so hard to show him how much I've grown.
ああ、そういえば、帝国国民を守るため、体に気をつけ、しっかり訓練に励んでほしいとさ。お父さんからの伝言だ。
I mean, that's nice, but you couldn't send something more personal?
ありがとうございます。父様と最近お会いになったのですか？
She literally just never gets to see him.
いや、昨日たまたまかけた電話でね。娘に言いたいことがあるんなら、手紙でも電話でもいいから自分で伝えろって言ってやったよ。
What a fool.
父様筆武将だし、電話も苦手ですから。それに集中し始めると時間を忘れてしまうし。
Okay, I guess that does make sense. Eccentric, he must be.
確かにあっちもいろいろ佳境らしいからな。当分は市ヶ谷に缶詰だって言ってたよ。
そうでしたか。
Oh, father, he never changes. It's the same old pattern. Shuts himself up in his study without eating or drinking for several days, completely immersed in his work. I remember one time father secluded himself for 3 days. He ended up on his knees apologizing while mother was crying and raining verbal abuses down on him. Some may see him as childish, but I know better. That unyielding commitment to his work is how he upholds the name of House Takamura.
でも、おじさまもお忙しいんでしょ？お体心配です。
まあ、このご時世だ。忙しいのは仕方ないさ。
Yeah.
でも、
俺たち開発屋に限らず、このところはあっちもこっちもてんやわんやだからね。
大陸の戦況ですか？
I shouldn't have asked that. The answer probably involves military secrets.
戦況ときたか。さすがこの絵の英士候補生。ああ、ゆいちゃんがそんな大人みたいな質問をするようになるなんてな。
Kind of like, I've mentioned before, my grandpa served in the Korean War, but that's the thing is that back at the time, you weren't supposed to call it the Korean War because we weren't at war. We're like, no, we can't have full-blown war. That would imply too much and require too many, checks and balances. No, it was a police action. It was a restoration of peace. No, it was a war. But semantics are important for legality and possible deniability.
おじさま。
いや、すまん。
Honestly, why must you keep treating me like a child?
そういえば、総選部合格、おめでとう。
Oh, no, please, no. Don't tell me he knows how disappointing my performance was.
ありがとうございます。でも、おじさまからはもうお祝いの電報はいただいて。
いや、直接言ってなかったからね。お父さんもとても喜んでたぞ。さすがに。
はい、お手紙を速達で。
そうか、手紙をね。あいつも人の親だったというわけだ。
Though House Iwaya is now a deserted house, one whose descendants abolished their own family line to join another, it was originally a prestigious Fudai house. Even so, Uncle is a bona fide legend in the Royal Guard. He served as the main test pilot during the Zuikaku's development, shooting down an American F-15 Eagle all by himself. On top of that, he was a major player during his time with the IJA, dispatched up to the mainland. If Uncle wanted to, nothing could stop him from gaining access to my full record from Yamayuri.
それじゃあそろそろ実機協定かい？通学はいつまで？
Hold on, if he doesn't know that.
はい、入寮は明日で、協定は明後日からです。
Dang.
おっと、それは悪いことをした。学生生活最後の団らんを邪魔してしまうとは。いや。いえ、
おじさまは家族同然ですから、父様も母様もそう思ってます。
嬉しいね。
Well, it's not entirely unexpected. A busy man like Uncle Iwaya doesn't have the time to go snooping around for a mere cadet's records. How shameful of me. What a ridiculous display of self-consciousness. No, I'm sure he absolutely did.
いよいよ英士訓練の本番だな。実機協定はやることが数倍に増えるからね。
Oh.
はい。
まあ、俺の頃の英士訓練は今より悠長にやってたんで、めったなことは言えんが。
Interesting. Instructor Sonata made a point to comment on the breakneck pace of surface pilot training these days. The streamlined curriculum and more advanced TSFs are part of the reason, but the harsh reality is the deteriorating war situation on the continent doesn't leave any room for hand-holding during our training period anymore. And that's the crazy thing, is it gets even worse. Like, whatever it is now, I guarantee you, it's even worse than whatever the onboarding system is during Takaru's time.
覚悟はできてます。私、一日も早く任官して、おじさまと父様がお作りになった髄核に乗れるよう頑張ります。
Oh, that's funny. You say that, I get the feeling you're not actually ever going to get behind the sticks of your own Zyukaku. But that's because we know the headline image.
髄核か。そうだな。
He's like, yeah. Can't say anything about Takamura Yui.
おじさま？
空はいいものだな。
Okay, weird direction.
特に日本の空はいい。四季折々の表情がある。
はい、そうですね。
It's true. The sky really is beautiful. I'm always so laser focused on the problems right in front of my eyes, I never notice what's going on around me. That's actually something I was as well. And my recent bout with sickness and how it kind of it didn't manifest on the channel much because being homebound is not a limiter factor for making content. But being unable to stay awake for long periods of time definitely was impactful, and I ended up being essentially homebound for almost 2 years. This channel being a lifeline for me. But ever since I've been able to really come out of it and start to be in the world again, doing things again, starting to work again, I feel like I came out of that experience with a better appreciation of being able to kind of step back and see the whole world a bit better. I still think I'm probably got my blinders on in a lot of ways, but it really is interesting how just a twist of life's fate can suddenly bring that into full scope. And I think that's going to be a lifelong pursuit. I think I'm always going to end up having these major events that occur that are going to remind me of just how pretty the world is, how precious it is, and how much the stuff that I constantly deluge myself with social media and online content, how ephemeral that really is too.
この美しい四季を持つ国をベータの好きにさせるわけにはいかない。
Yeah, that's true. We can't let them get here. We cannot!
はい、それを阻止するには優れた戦術機が一機でも多く必要です。おじさまも父様もそのために頑張ってくださっています。だから私も腕を磨き続けます。おじさまと父様からいただいたご恩と機体開発のご尽力に報いるためにも、そして早く一人前の英士になって陛下と殿下を、そして日本を守ります。
いや、そうじゃない。そうじゃないんだよ、ゆいちゃん。
Oh, I don't understand. Why does Uncle look so downhearted?
優秀な武器や戦術機が必要な理由はね、本来、ゆいちゃんみたいな若い人たちを戦場に送り出さなくて済むようにするためなんだよ。
It's the problem Marimo has as well. She talks about how she's like, I want to fight every day to live in a world where we don't need to fight anymore. And he's like, no, you're losing the plot because your whole world is about preparing you to fight. You're you don't understand that the whole point is to make it so you don't have to.
お父さんもおじさんも大人たちはみんなそう願いながら頑張ってるんだ。
はい。
Admiral Ozawa closed his lecture on the same note. Father and uncle must feel a similar sense of responsibility toward the younger generations. I imagine, though, that's impossible not to when you have kids. I think having children and like seeing a future in their eyes is probably the most life-altering perspective you can have. It's something that's like, oh, it's not about me anymore. And it's like, okay, maybe there's more I need to do. Maybe I can work a little harder. Maybe I'm willing to sacrifice more if it means that this little person gets to have as many opportunities as possible. But the beta invasion isn't Uncle's fault. It's not anybody's fault. And besides, the fate demands I hold the line against the enemy that would inflict unspeakable cruelties upon the Empire. As an heir to a warrior family, there's no other path open to me. I wonder, is there something I could have said to set his heart at ease?
さて、顔見せのつもりが居心地の良さについ長居して
Wait, we haven't had dinner yet.
そろそろおいとまするとしよ
お夕飯召し上がっていかないんですか？
う。うん。今日はこの後大事な用があってね。
Aww.
その前にちょっと済ませておきたいこともある。
That sucks.
そうなんですか。母様も残念がると思います。おじさまに食べていただこうと肉じゃがを。
ああ、高村家ご自慢の肉じゃがを食べられないのはとても残念だ。そうか。だからセンナさんは途中で。
Yeah.
いや、それはますます悪いことをしたな。
Zero for two?
おじさま、京都には何日くらいいらっしゃるんですか？もしよければ明日にでもまた。
すまんな。用事が済んだらすぐに東京にとんぼ帰りさ。
Gosh darn it.
そうですよね。
I did it again. How could I have been so conceited to even entertain the idea of a high-ranking officer in the Imperial Army who also plays a critical role in TSF development efforts would come to Kyoto only to visit us? It's simply absurd. It's not, though! No, today was a rare occasion. Surely he's made an opening in his schedule. That would explain why his arrival was so sudden.
ああ、そうだ。家族の団らんを邪魔したお詫びに一つアドバイスをしよう。
Oh?
人は自分がそう思いたいようにしか理解しない。たとえどんな事実を見たとしてもね。
He's kind of giving her a heads up saying like, hey, look, once they've decided that they don't like you or that you cheated or whatever, they're not going to be dissuaded. Don't waste your energy persuading them. Stick to the house code. Prove them through your grit.
はい。
だから一つ一つを考えすぎたり気にしすぎたりしなくていいんだ。かっちりしていないくらいがちょうどいい。
Just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. Sure, that's just so easy to do.
人間も戦術機も遊びや余裕がないと脆いもんさ。
I wonder how far away the beta are at this point. A few hours later, the main resident in Koubuin Yuuhi. Okay. I wonder if... Interesting. Because that maid outfit, that style, is very reminiscent. No openings. She must be in Oniwanban, one of the House Koubuin's most trusted undercover agents. The woman could kill me in a second with her bare hands without even breaking a sweat. Well, what's life without a little risk? It's rare to be granted the opportunity to visit the estate of one of the 5 regent houses. Time to see what makes Koubuin Yuuhi tick. Oh, yeah, I makes sense. Took her long enough to grant me an audience. We've exchanged countless messages back and forth, but some things can only be understood when speaking face to face. Dark days lay on the horizon for the Empire, and that's why I hatched this plan, fully prepared to be accused of treason by those who could oppose it. Knowing what hangs in the balance, can I really entrust things to her? Only one way to find out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, no need to be so nervous. It's laughable, really. I may be rotten to the core, but I'm still a royal guardsman at heart. That was a lot of just noise.
お待たせいたしました。どうか表を開けてください。
Hi. It's been a while. Oh my gosh. There she is. They're the same age. Yeah, they are. Yui is the best.
帝国陸軍技術省第一開発局副部長岩谷英二中佐であります。親方様におかれましては、
過剰な礼は無用です。岩谷中佐。
Okay, so that maid, I said I recognized her. Is she actually the actual maid servant that we see in the other games? Because she looks really different. Not so different it's to be stark. I think it's Maya. I think it's Maya. But like, she looks different enough. I didn't recognize her. Anyway. Hey, Yui. I didn't think we were going to be seeing you so soon.
ただ、しきたりに縛られる身ゆえ、こうして上座にあることをどうかお許しください。
Yeah. If we don't have you on the thumbnail, I'll be wishing it. I probably will, though. She carries herself with elegance, every gesture perfectly chosen. She speaks her mind without hesitation, nary a word out of place. A minor she may be, but Koubuin Yuuhi's reputation is well deserved. Koubuin? I think that's supposed to be right. Koubuin.
お忙しいところ、お呼び立てしてしまい申し訳なく思います。
It's interesting because I get this feeling that she's not actually looking at him either.
いえ、直接お会いしたいと言ったのはこちらです。久しぶりに京都の様子も見ておきたかったので、むしろ好都合でした。
して、今宵はどのようなご用向きでしょうか。
はい。まずは先日ご提案申し上げた件、進捗を見ていただければと。
お納めください。お預かりいたします。親方様、こちらでございます。
The contents of the file are highly incendiary. For more than anything in the notes we've exchanged so far. Not only could this lead to a domestic unrest if implemented, but doing so would also constitute a breach of our treaty obligations, likely escalating into a full-blown international incident. What on earth is he asking? He's like, Even so, this is only the tip of the iceberg. If her expression changes in the slightest while reading these papers, then I'll know she doesn't have what it takes. Well, since our princess has a backbone, guess she's cleared the first hurdle. It's so
兵が
quiet.
勝つことを尊び、久しきを尊ばず。
Interesting. So I wonder what this is supposed to be a plan about.
孫子ですね。
If war is inevitable, then do whatever it takes to ensure victory. However, no country stands to benefit on protracted engagements. In that regard, the lack of imagination is deadly. A statesman must take care not to hold the status quo as immutable, but instead look to the future and see the possibilities it may bring. A lesson someone who may very well become the next shogun seems to have internalized even at her young age. Though I would be testing her, but the tables have turned. She wants to know that I won't back down. You don't need time to figure out what makes someone tick. If you're a genuine article, it's easy to tell when someone else is faking it. Simple as that.
はあ。神明をとして。
What is this?
ではこの計画は承りましょう。公務員の名にかけて全身全霊を尽くすとお約束します。
So I read it too quickly earlier, but she said it right there. I was right the second time. Koubuin. That's an odd, like it doesn't feel right in the mouth, but Koubuin, Yui Koubuin.
Huh.
Looks like I cleared her first hurdle too, huh? With this, the plan finally starts to take concrete shape. After we get our hands on the beta-derived technologies the Americans hold a monopoly over, things will finally fall into place. Oh. Okay. So this is the beginning of what will likely blossom into Alternative 4. Okay, but hang on. Getting access to the technology. You need to be able to get access to G matter, which currently the Americans hold exclusive rights over. Is this about making a deal with America to allow for weapons testing, potentially the agreement to let the G-bomb be a thing, if in return they get access to G elements themselves? Or could it even more terrifyingly be an initiative to invade a beta hive on the initiative and dime and personnel of Japan, or allowing a beta hive to be established on the mainland to then be recaptured, which would be the most insane, which in the future we understand that that's an event that happens, but the idea that it could have been allowed in order because they understand that the G particles are essentially the only hope humanity actually has, that would be horrifying. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. I am too. Master of House Koubuin intends to stand by her word, but right now her word is nothing more than an empty promise. Whatever commitments she makes are hollow without her house's actions to back them up. Still, the plan is still in its infancy, and gaining Koubuin Yuuhi as an ally at this early was an unexpected development. More so when I'm asking her to bear considerable risk. I expect it would take me at least a week to persuade her. Now that she's accepted, it's time to seize the moment. My next move must be clear and forceful. I might as well show all my cards and prove I'm determined to do whatever it takes.
では、親方様、そろそろ本題に。
An IJA officer, the head of one of the 5 regent houses, won't have many opportunities to meet in person. Now that we've both demonstrated our willingness to act, the right play is to work on building trust between us. The Imperial government, the Royal Guard, the Americans, it'll all be a free-for-all between master and manipulators. Crowds of men who would put Machiavelli to shame will flock to her side, the kind of men whose every move serves an advantage to their agenda. If I neglect to earn her trust, somebody's bound to pull the rug under my feet.
実は先の獲物と一組で運用する前提なのですが、幾分厄介な代物です。かの国の機密中枢に。
Maybe is this the foundation of the railgun system?
お待ちください、岩谷中さん。そのお話を伺う前に、そなたに引き合わせたいものがおります。
Dang. Even at this age, she's so terrifyingly commanding.
引き合わせたいものですか。
At this early stage, it's critical for the numbers of co-conspirators to be kept as small as possible. Surely she must realize this as well.
つくよみこれに。
Tsukuyomi.
は。
Yeah, I think it's Maya Tsukuyomi. From the shadows. Boo?
表をお上げなさい。過剰な礼は不要と申すに。本当に意地悪ですね。
Oh. She's like, I don't care for pointless formalities, and yet you stand with all of them just to spite me, it seems. What the fetch? Yoroi? Wait, I know this man.
はじめまして、岩谷英二中佐。私は
確か鎧左近。
It is!
特務課長でしたか。
He looks different here.
帝国情報部がここで何を？
いえいえ、私はしがない町の貿易商、北米担当の外務二課など全くの無関係ですよ。
I have no clue where you stumble upon the idea that I'm the man in charge of the North American Affairs and the Foreign Affairs Division. No one was saying that. It's so scary because he just says it like that. So he's trying to make a fool of me from the start. The man has no intention of hiding his real identity, does he?
まあまあお嬢さん、そう怖い顔なさらず、お近づきの印に一ついかがですかな？
Gosh, that's kind of weird, like how they animated that.
これはイースター島の土産でして、いえ、買ったのは本土ですがね。
Okay, he's still the same. He's such a madman.
これ鎧おやめなさい。それは盗聴器ではありませんか。
ははは、盗聴器などと人聞きが悪いですな。これは映像送信もできる優れものでして、 盗聴器4は甚だ心外。
An image transmitter. Yeah, that's like, it's like a super bug. He's completely inscrutable and eccentric, as the rumors say. Still, he's clearly on good terms with Koubuin Yuuhi. He's aware of this, and he's making sure I'm aware of it as well. Because this is a test. Section Chief Yoroi Sakan, 2nd Foreign Affairs Division, Imperial Ministry of Intelligence, known as Kyoto's Man of Mystery. By foreign intelligence services, Yoroi is one of the Empire's spy masters. A formidable man, he's made life miserable for countless people, both inside Japan and abroad.
親方様、この者は。
存じています。岩谷中。
Yeah, I know, he's an a-hole.
ですがその恐れこそこの者の力の証。
It's
そうは
true.
思いませんか？
Gosh darn it, that is his gift, isn't it? Like, I knew it before, but again, it's hitting home. Like, he puts you on the back pedal. He knows just how to say things in a way that makes you feel, like, confused, disoriented, like, wondering if you should feel insulted. The whole while, like, it just makes it so that you're playing into his hands. He just knows he's a master manipulator, and his main weapon of choice is disarmament, emotional disarmament. Yeah, I see what she means. Must be reassuring to have someone like this as an ally. Still, Yoroi Sakan must be an accomplished spy master, but at the end of the day, he's only an Imperial agent operative. Imperial intelligence operative. In plain words, he's a bureaucrat, nothing more than a cog in the machine. His stellar reputation is the result of following orders without question, without a will of his own. We can't be sure Yoroi is on our side. And I doubt he's earned the full trust of the head of House Koubuin either. Should we entrust the future of the Empire to someone like him? Maybe we should. Maybe it's more people like him we need. God, playing games like this is hard. It's scary.
では、その毒、皿ごと食らいましょう。
それは頼もしいですね。岩谷中さん。
God, that voice.
見目麗しい親方様を捕まえて皿とはひどい。
お黙りなさい、鎧。
It may have only been for an instant, but does Koubuin Yuuhi need someone who's wavered during a test of their character? Does need someone who's wavered. Yes, this was a test, and surely not the last one I'll have to face. Yoroi might be, and I might be adults in the room, but this young girl is the one manipulating us to get what she wants. She's good.
親方様、一つ伺います。
She's really good.
なんでありましょう、岩谷中さん。
鎧課長と私をつないだのは何故でしょうか。恩義を介して供することもできたはずですが。
You think... Okay, I'm actually going to answer this question for him. You think she's in a position to be able to reach out, contact, and correlate conversation between the two of you? You think that there's any communication she has that can be truly secret in any way, shape, or form, especially to people who are closely wanting to manipulate her? Absolutely not. No. You have trusted advisors, you have people you have in your corner, you make sure they're coordinating with each other, because you might not be able to coordinate when you're in a position that she is.
そなたが望むもの、それと同じものを切望するものがこのものに連なっているからです。
ほう。
Someone else, huh?
では、そのものが今ここに呼ばれていないよしはいかに。
How much you want that, Yoko Sensei?
人の巡りには木があり、木が紡がれるには絆が必要です。
I mean, that's very powerful quote, that's for sure. Huh.
そして絆には人が欠かせませんから。
She has thought this through.
ご後輩には感謝します。ですが、今日初めてお会いしたにもかかわらず、トントン拍子にことが運びすぎて、いささか戸惑っているのも事実。なぜ私にそこまで。
She makes a valid point. It's too early for all of us conspirators to meet, even though we share the same goal. But what exactly is the common goal we share? Is it to ensure the Empire of Japan has a future, to gain control of the G elements, or something else altogether? I see. Koubuin Yuuhi already knows I'm fully committed. She's actually enjoying this little game of feeling each other out. She's incredible for someone so young. She really is. Like, Maya is an incredible individual as well, don't get me wrong. But there's a reason Yui is who she is, and why she's in the position that she's in.
中佐のお覚悟に対する私なりの筋通し。そう受け取っていただければ幸いです。
I also like the voice actor work that they do for her. Honestly, she has all the makings of a leader. Dang, if only I were 15 years younger. Oops, better not say that out loud. It's kind of disrespectful.
なるほど。
But I think we all agree, man. I think we're all on the same page there. Although, to be fair, if we were the same age, and if we were in a position where we could, wouldn't it also be kind of terrifying? Guess I won't be the only one drinking from a poison chalice. Yeah, all the makings of a leader, all right. Koubuin Yuuhi is dead set on seizing the opportunity that fate has given her and changing the world that has consigned her to such a cruel destiny. As someone who was once embroiled in the machinations of the Imperial Royal Guard, I can understand the weight and cruelty of the burdens she's had to bear and the things she's had to see. I can understand it all too well.
過剰な礼は無用です。岩谷中佐。しきたりに縛られる身ゆえ、こうして上座にあることをどうかお許しください。兵は勝つことを尊び、久しきを尊ばず、公部員の名にかけて、全身全霊を尽くすとお約束します。
Jeez, like that, those words right there are freaking crazy. A once rebellious outcast who cast away the Royal Guard is now handpicked to play a critical role in a plot that might change the fate of the Empire. How could I turn such a tempting offer down? I'm already wrapped around her finger.
鎧課長。
なんでしょう、岩谷中佐。
ありがたく頂戴しよう。その土産とやらを。
Yeah, ooh. That was some good writing right there. Woo.
嘆かわしいことです。
It is Maya. Yes, I remembered. It's been a long time. The fact I can still remember when it's been years since I've seen her on the screen, that should say I am a fan.
武家の教師はどこへやら。ああも賊にまみれたわ。岩谷家の先人もさぞや無念でしょう。
I imagine he's thrown that honor to the side if it means victory for Japan.
およしなさい、つくよみ。そのような物言い、無礼ですよ。
お言葉ですが親方様、つくよみは公部員家をお守りするのが務めにございます。いかに野にあれ、いやしくも不大武家の血を引く者が、ごせっけたる公部員の当主に対してあのように不遜な。
私がそう望んだのです。そなたも聞いていたでしょうに。
そもそも岩谷家の配下は陛下と殿下へのご奉公だったはず。ミイラ取りがミイラにとはあの者のためにある俗言です。
Maya was also the scarier of the Tsukuyomis.
先の敗戦以来アメリカの意向に沿った亡国の異性は陛下と殿下を政治的な飾り物に貶め、帝国を無機質で重要な経済大国に至らしめています。
Dang.
帝国が降伏したのは連合国ですよ。
お言葉ですが親方様、帝国はアメリカ以外の国には負けておりません。連合国とやらはアメリカの尻馬に乗ったものの総称です。
Blatant propaganda. I think America could have done pretty well on its own, but I don't think it could have carried the entire burden of fighting the entirety of the Axis powers on its own. It might have put up a solid fight, and it definitely had the war economy to produce like material, like weapons and ships and all of that. But frankly, a big reason why America got to win with people riding on their coattails is because they all fought first. They all did the harder work and drew the battle lines, established like technology and precedents. And then all the United States did really was provide critical infrastructure support and then ultimately reinforcements at timely manner. Technically, our brawl to brawl was really with Japan, and we did do really well in that war, but also Japan had woefully overextended itself. It had absolutely dug its own grave, unfortunately. They were determined because they felt like at the time, if they could secure the Pacific Ocean essentially as their sovereign territory, any threat that could try and make its way to the Japanese mainland would be detected and countered before they could even get there. But unfortunately, they'd stretched themselves too thin when they provoked the United States. Again, most likely misunderstanding what actually could happen once we got motivated. Because At the time when they attacked, our navy was pretty limited, and if the Pearl Harbor attack had been properly successful, where they'd been able to catch majority of our fleet all in harbor at once, it really might have been a whole nother war.
またそのようなことを講和以前の真偽を後からあれこれ言うのは
There?
文明国の行いではありませんよ。
事後立法で復讐裁判を行うのが文明国であるなら、そうある必要はありません。しかも彼らとてソ連に踊らされていたのは戦後の冷戦構造を見るに明白でありましょう。
You could say that, but you could also say that the Soviet Union fell to our machinations, especially in our timeline, because the Soviet Union essentially bankrupted itself trying to play catch-up, when really it didn't need to.
はいはい、わかりましたから。岩谷中佐の話を続けなさい。
I really like Yui. I really like Yui.
そう
She's such a cool character.
とにかくあの者はそのような淵を憂いて立ち、同志たちと共に矢に下った一人。帝国軍中枢に浸透し、その動静を探る本文をわきまえ、皇帝陛下の全権代行たる征夷大将軍に忠を尽くすのが筋。あのような小賢しい策にご設計たる親方様を巻き込むなど、まさに不忠の極み。大方大戦特需に浮かれる軍需産業に抱き込まれ堕落したのでしょう。
Interesting. There's probably kernels of truth in that. I think we've learned through being in his head that Iwaya has the best of intentions, but especially if you don't know intimately how he thinks and feels, like, it really would look like that.
人は変わるものです。ですが、心根は容易に変えられないものですよ。
だとするなら、元より日和見の惰弱なのでしょう。鎧がごときに動揺し、躊躇をあらわにする程度の小物です。
No, I don't think that's quite true, because he was literally committing essentially what many could accuse him of and successfully have him executed for treason. I'd be terrified if anybody I didn't know was in the room suddenly manifested themselves. I'd be thoroughly disgruntled.
鎧が相手なら、それも致し方ないと思いますけれど。
Also, yeah, can anyone hold a conversation with Yoroi and not be, like, immediately, like, terrified in some way?
岩谷家は元より、ご設計のいずれとも筋を持たない独立系の武家衆。摂政に長じるといえば聞こえはいいですが、やっていることは日和見。所詮風緑に過ぎません。
That's beholding too much to genetics, what is really a personality trait and training. Maybe he was raised to be a negotiator as well, but you still have a man there, and that man can be completely different from his ancestry, easily, and probably is.
おそらく水盤の儀を見越した手回しかと。ベータ化による乱世が必要の次期将軍には、ご設計いずれも名乗りを上げず、互いの顔色を伺い続けています。かような膠着こそ、鎧や岩屋のごとき者らが得意とする様。
Interesting. They're already determined that the Beta War will end in the near future. I'm guessing it's because like they've determined that the resources dictate it has to end, and now they've probably just developed like G-bombs, and they're like, okay, we technically could destroy half the planet but be free of Beta. So it's like, if we don't have another solution in the next like 20 years, not even 20 years, like 10 years, we're just gonna go nuclear. So maybe that's why they're already planning on post-Beta War, because like the higher-ups understand that technically if you eliminate all continents but the Americans continent, and not knowing just how disastrous that tactic will end up being, they believe that the Beta War will be over in the next 10-15 years.
お待ちさえ、親方様にそれを押し付けて、難を逃れようと画策するだけの。
そこまでです、つくよみ。
失礼しました。
そなたの言う通り、公務員を含むご設計が水盤の儀に尻込みしているのは事実です。それこそ私が公務員家の当主となったよし、征夷大将軍職に若輩の女子が水盤されるなどありえないからです。
Interesting.
公務員一門は武家社会のしきたりを逆手に取ったのです。自らを改革開放の旗手と喧伝し、男女平等の美名を隠れみのに設計責務の放棄を正当化したのです。
Interesting. So Koubuin, like, were they the ones that pushed for the more gender equality? And was that not predicated on the sense of desperation, like I assumed, but literally because they wanted to make sure Yui had an opportunity to be considered for the shogunate? That's crazy if true. It makes a lot of sense, but it's funny how like they can have the veneer of like equality and respect and modernization, but in the core, it's ultimately just another power grab.
そして高塚家も公務員の試技に習う算段でいると聞きます。ですがこのまま五石家当主が全て女子になれば結局元の木阿弥現将軍家である西園寺、そして九条はその具を示し、最初にしきたりを破った公務員の席を通っています。
Okay, interesting. So this was also with the idea, whether it was intentional or not, from the actual shogunate. Wow.
黙して意をあらわにしない斑鳩を挟み、五石家は今何も得るものがない綱を引き合っているのです。
斑鳩は元より高塚さに親しいはず。いずれこちらにつくでしょう。今の動きを見るに岩やめの黒幕という疑いも依然ありますが。
つくよみ、これはあくまで例え話なのですけれど。
Okay.
女子が、しかも若輩者が征夷大将軍職を拝命できる気などかような乱世以外にないと思うのです。
That's true. And let's assume what the motivation of that would be, manipulation.
親方様。
確か岩谷中佐は私を皿と言いましたね。そしてその皿を毒ごと飲み干す、そう言ってくださいましたね。
Okay.
ですが親方様がお気になさるような話では。
いえ、私は選んでいただきました、岩谷中佐に。故にその覚悟にふさわしい良しを示さなければなりません。
Oh. Okay, so her takeaway from that is saying like he could have approached any of the other candidates. He decided that she was the one that was best to try and like work with, knowing that essentially at the very bare minimum it was a gamble of 1 out of 5 that and if it failed, he not only could lose everything he's gambling, but he also could then be potentially betrayed.
ならば私も進んで我が手を差し入れましょう。ベータカ、乱世、そしてこの国のありよう、かような亀の底に沈むものをつかみ上げるにはそうするしかありません。
お待ちください。いかに民のためとはいえ親方様自らそのような。
行為は幸徳を要す。配下した者が毒皿を丸飲みするというのですよ。ご石家たる公務員当主がそのくらいしないでどうしますか。
Ah, she's taking it as inspiration.
親方様。
心配には及びません。私にも考えはあります。つくよみ、これに。
The other one. Here she comes.
お呼びでしょう、
Yeah!
親方様。
マナ、戻っていたか。
口が過ぎるのは相変わらずだな、マヤ。親方様を何だと思ってる。
よい、もう慣れましたからね。
は、我がいとこのぶしつけ恥じるばかりです。
親方様、してその策とはいかなるものでしょうか。我らつくよみは何を。
つくよみまや、そなたは本日をもって公務員家お庭番頭の任を解きます。
What?
この江軍警備部隊に現隊復帰しかる後、お庭番頭として斑鳩家に奉公するのです。
Dang. I didn't see that coming.
斑鳩家ということは親方様。
Wait, isn't he the guy who ends up being her like fiance?
そなたが斑鳩公に抱く疑念、存分に調べ尽くしてください。
Maybe I'm misremembering that part. Like, I really could not keep track of who was supposed to be marrying her.
親方様。
よろしく頼みますよ。
The only one.
つくよみまな、明日よりそなたを公務員家お庭番頭に任じます。
Interesting.
何かと周囲が騒がしくなっていくでしょう。マヤと同様、公務員をよろしくお願いしますね。
は。
Well.
親方様、お着替えの支度が整っております。どうぞこちらへ。
I think we're gonna end here. It feels like a rough place to end, but yeah. Let's see. I'm guessing we might be able to have some like insight into Yui's state of mind, which would be really cool. But woo, what a spicy episode this turned out to be, huh? Ooh boy, I'm really curious if they're going to be exploring some of these like machinations that are going on behind the scenes during the proceedings of this time period. Like, I am all for it, 100%. Like, it kind of makes sense, but I genuinely thought that this was mostly going to be a focus on Yui. I didn't realize we were going to be seeing into the politicking that was going on as deeply as this. It kind of makes sense. It is Total Eclipse, and that's what Total Eclipse also did, but even so, color me surprised. I should have seen it coming. I didn't. I'm genuinely really excited to see this, and just to see so many interesting characters depicted younger, and obviously in the midst of what's going on, all the craziness. I'm really curious to see how like all the interconnectedness plays out, and also like what are the kind of more sketchy backdoor dealing hands were being dealt at the time. Very, very, very interesting. But yes, we'll have to digest all of this later. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here and being able to spend the time with me and just kind of enjoying the story together. Hopefully we have more grand adventures to explore and more interesting things to kind of cut our teeth on, I guess you could say. And now knowing that the future, and like I think the biggest reveal that we had this episode is this idea that like the assumption is already at this point in history being made that the Beta War will be coming to an end within the lifetime of the upcoming generation. Like the fact that that's been apparently a decided factor is crazy, because it feels like a massive assumption to make. But I also totally get that people higher up, especially with access to the information they probably have that's currently cutting edge and nobody really knows about besides like upper state secret level stuff, probably feel really confident, overconfident, which is what's the problem with the Alternative 5 program ultimately was, is this overconfidence and a lack of truly like thinking through the big picture that, and also just not knowing, that's the other thing, not knowing enough of what would happen enacting Alternative 5, so. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. It means the world to me that you're here. I look forward to sharing it all with you. As always, it's a pleasure. And thank you especially to the patrons and members. Your direct support means the world to me. I just need to show you I'm worth the investment. So I'm going to do my best to make it up to you, or to make it feel like it was a worthwhile thing to do. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next video, watch me. I'll see me next. I'll see you there.